a world where the truth isn't always what it seems, real estate masters step forward to help put the E first in the word true. TREU. Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. And now, here's your real estate masters and their host, Tom Blatania.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, on this beautiful Friday, South Florida day. I'm Tom Blatania, your host, and you're listening to Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, or as we like to call it, TREU Radio. We're here with some of our top realtors in South Florida. We'd like to welcome good morning to them. We have Scott McAllister, Mr. George Matter, and the lovely and talented Carol Morgan. Good morning, guys.
Well, good morning.
How's it been for you guys this week? A little bit better?
Yeah.
Recuperating from the holidays?
Getting back in the groove.
Enjoying the cooler weather, too.
Oh, beautiful out today. I love it like this.
I can't wait to see what my, electric bill is this month because it's going to be super low.
Oh, yeah, you don't turn the heat on, air conditioning.
I just had the windows open the whole week. It's nice.
Yeah, I actually had the air on a couple days just because of the humidity. Really, really, really gets to you. But, I love this weather. Waking up in the morning, go sit out patio, have a nice cup of coffee, even sitting there at night, sipping on a glass of wine or something like that. Absolutely beautiful to be like this.
At least we can have a bonfire right now. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, true. That is nice. You guys got a real nice one at your place, right?
Yeah, we got a fire pit.
Yeah, real nice they set up there. So great times. But it's been tough kind of getting back in the swing of things from that 2-week vacation. Oh my gosh, I think this Monday was like first Monday that I was like, I woke up and actually felt okay. I'm back.
You must have done a lot of celebrating.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do a lot of it.
You traveled too, and traveling takes it out of you.
Wear and tear.
I didn't go anywhere for the holidays except, from like in-laws' houses and stuff for the family. Yeah,
well, usually I wake up 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning, just automatically wake up. When I was up there, I didn't wake up till 8, 9 o'clock because, it's 30 degrees outside. You're snuggled under a blanket. My aunt and uncle, they'd come home from work during the day and be like, okay, we're going to take a quick nap. So I'd go take a quick nap too. So it's just getting out of that routine. And, like 3 o'clock now, I'm like,
So they do they do siestas there too?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was jealous. I'm like at 3 o'clock now, I'm thinking, okay, that nap sounds like really good. Then I'll get an email or a phone call. Damn. So that doesn't work out too good. Well, we got a great show for you today. It's tax season coming up. You start seeing all those ads, right? How much money can we give to the IRS so that they can go buy junk with it?
No, you see where they're giving it all back. If you watch the H&R Block, they're pushing bales of money out the back of the plane. It's all coming back to us, right?
Yeah, not.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. Every year before, when I was in the restaurant business, I always claimed zero and let them take the max out, and I just kind of used it as a savings account that I didn't think about because at the time, I mean, you're not going to make any more money keeping in a bank savings account. There's no money, so it always come January, I'd file as soon as you could file, and I'd get like a nice $3,000 check, be like, woohoo, time to take a vacation. And now all of a sudden I'm on realtor business. Now I'm owing money. And I'm like, oh, I don't like the owing money as opposed to getting money aspect,
Right.
Yeah, because this way you're keeping more of it, and then you only had to give them a little bit instead of, because there's all kinds of deductions you have no clue about.
But and that's one of the things I think a lot of new realtors, if they don't have a good mentor and good leaders, is they get into trouble is they don't know that they have, putting money aside for all of those things. Because, fortunately with the mentorship my mom had, she's making sure, hey, we're doing well, so you need to make sure you're putting money aside to pay taxes on what we're getting there.
Yeah.
Don't get that surprise.
Yeah, that's a tough.
Because it can be wow, how much if you don't think about it.
That has to be tough to be able to do that.
And you can pay quarterly too.
You can? Okay. That's got to be tough, though. That got to be seeing all that money rolling in, and then especially if you don't prepare for it.
Yeah, it was much easier when you had an employer just taking it out before you saw it on your check, and you were like, whatever. It was kind of theoretical money. But once you have it in your bank, and then you have to write a check to the IRS, it's like, oh, really?
It's not a fun thing to do.
Well, we want to give as little back to the IRS as possible. So you want to make sure, obviously, everything we're going to talk about today needs to be validated by a CPA, licensed accountant, As realtors, we see these things. We have some ideas of what needs to be. We write off some things ourselves. However, on anything like this, you don't ever want to get yourself in trouble. You want to make sure that you validate. Not everything is going to be 100% for what you can claim, but we want to give as little back to the IRS as humanly possible. And if there's a deduction, you need to take it.
Everybody's
Absolutely.
situation's a little different, so you
Right.
need to look at your particular situation.
Yeah.
And I've even had some people when I joke, I'll be like, oh hey, I can write this off. People are like, oh guys, the realtors, you write everything off. I'm like, you don't realize how much of our income. I mean, when you look at it, and it's like if somebody has, when they talk about GCI, which is your gross income, people would on commission. Someone's like, oh, this person over here made $300,000 last year in GCI, and they think that's like a salary
Right.
of $300,000.
Yeah.
And what ultimately, if you're really good, they do what the 30-30-40 rule. So 30% of that's going to be operating. 30% is going to be other expenses. So you're looking, people aren't realizing you're putting, you made $300,000, say this person over here, they're putting $60,000 out in marketing, $60,000 out in operating expenses. Yeah. So there's a reason that there are those write-offs for people who are self-employed like realtors.
Yeah. And being self-employed, it gives you a leg up if you do it properly. It gives you a leg up on the government.
Yep.
And having the individual deductions if you do it properly. But for homeowners, and that's a benefit from renting versus homeownership, is there's so many more things that you can do and you can deduct to help keep a lot more of that money in your pocket. So you want to make sure. Now, one of the things that's kind of a cool little thing is boats as homes. Now, George, you're the water man. You're
Yes.
the guy who likes the water and the houses on it. So tell us a little bit about what you know about deductions for boats as homes.
You can treat a boat as a second home and write off a percentage of the expenses for that, as long as it has a couple of critical things. You have to be able to cook on it.
Okay.
You have to have a facility to use the restrooms,
Okay.
shower, and also be able to sleep in it, and it can be treated as a second home.
So can I go get one of those little camping stoves, get the little plastic porta potty, and
Is it built in? No.
Oh, it's got to be built in.
It has to be
It has to be built in.
part of the
Darn.
component.
Good try, though.
I got a 3-foot dinghy. I
Yeah.
figured if I could just
You can do the same thing with an RV as well, but it has to have the same components.
Oh, same thing. Okay.
Absolutely.
So you could actually classify an Rv as a second home if it has all those components.
Right.
It's a motorhome.
Yep.
It's right
Wow.
over there. But I remember as a kid, the first time I went on a quote yacht, it was like a 40-foot, really nice boat a friend I had, and they had the toilet that converts into a shower because it's that little. And I'm thinking, hold on, I'm gonna use this as a facility, and then I'm supposed to shower here. I'm like, how does this work? And as a kid, I'm like, I don't like this. And the closet's like, I couldn't fit in there now as a grown man. I mean, I don't know how even anyone gets in those tiny little facilities.
Yeah,
around
I was
some of
raised
these boats,
on a
you know.
36-foot Hatteras in St. Thomas.
Yeah, you were telling us about that.
And that's exactly what it was. The bathroom door, and if you were standing in the kitchen, and the sink was behind you, but pretty much only one person could stand there. And when you walked into the head, I mean, you were standing in the shower, and you stood in the shower while you went to the restroom.
It was just, yeah.
And you turned to the left to wash your hands. I mean, it was kind of convenient, but not a lot of maneuverability. But yeah, it's. But I guess once you get on some of those bigger ones, you get those. But that's cool that you can actually deduct that. But once again, if you have a boat, you want to make sure that you verify with your CPA or accountant that you do meet all those requirements before you can deduct it. But I guarantee you, there's probably quite a few folks around here that have that.
And don't have the
yeah.
knowledge of what they can take advantage of.
Exactly.
I've actually had clients that have lived on boats for years and now have bought a home.
Oh, really?
Well, because they've gotten older and the boats are a lot of work, and they want the security of the home. So they now, after my last one was 15 years, they had lived on the boat.
Well, that's what Juan Pablo's for.
Yeah.
And I live on the boat. I hire Juan Pablo.
Yeah.
Do you get used to sleeping on flat
bad.
solid land after being on a rocking boat for all those years? You know?
Yep.
I would think.
It's different, but I tell you, it rocks you to sleep, though. As long as you're not in a really high traffic area, because then it gets annoying. Because then you hear the boats go by,
The splash.
and then you're just like, and then just wait a couple of minutes later, and then the boat goes up and down from the wake. But the lagoon we lived in, we were so far back in it that there was very little traffic. But
you sleep like a baby on a boat. It's
man,
awesome.
It is a beautiful thing.
You lived on a boat in a lagoon.
Exactly.
I like that, you know?
Exactly. I was like a little Tom Sawyer, barefoot, no shirt. It was phenomenal. All right, so one of the other things is now here they're saying cancel debt on foreclosures or short sales.
Yeah, we've talked about that before with the whole, how sometimes, you used to owe the tax on that until they came up with the rules, and then every year they have to keep. I think it's every year they have to keep
seems like the
re-upping
trend.
it, or-
They redid it just the week just before the end of the year, but they did a
I think it was
retroactive
the last day, wasn't it?
to January 1st, but it did not go into 2015.
Okay,
They have to
so
think
it's
about
stopped.
it, and it'll take 11 and a half months before they decide whether they're going to do it for this
So
year.
if you do a short sale this year, it's again up in the air.
Right. For those of you out there who don't know what we're talking about, it's the difference between if you owed $200,000 on a mortgage and you sold the house for $100,000, there's a $100,000 difference between the mortgage and the sale.
It's treated as a gift.
So it's treated basically, they 1099 you for the difference, and it becomes residual income. So it's taxable.
And which we talked about on the show, it's insane because
You're going to tax someone
Right.
who can't afford to pay.
yeah, I
Right.
can't afford to pay it, but also money physically hasn't
Right.
exchanged hands.
Right. So therefore, up till the end of 2014, it was forgiven. We'll see what 2015 brings.
All right, so on your taxes, if you did have that, then make sure that you talk to and if you have a good CPA, these are questions that they should be asking you. One of the shows that I did in the past when they had the air conditioning tax deductions, when they had the 1,500, we had a young lady call the show, and she goes, my CPA said that there was no such thing. I'm like, well, ma'am, I can respect that, but first thing you want to do is you want to go to his office, you want to shake his hand, you want to fire him, then you want to move to the next office, and you want to find somebody else. Because if your CPA doesn't know this, and it's been around for a little bit now, then there's a problem. There's a problem.
Missed opportunities.
Yeah, it is. And and for anybody out there who does their own taxes and doesn't have a CPA and you've done a short sale, my recommendation is you get one for this issue because it could save you a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough
How
part
it's
when
filed.
you do stuff
They
on
have
your
to
own.
file a special form for that.
Yeah, even when you're using like the TurboTax and stuff like that, if it doesn't ask you the right questions.
Right.
And just like we talk about here in real estate, they've got to educate yourself, and CPAs, the best of them are constantly educating themselves because they have changes every year.
Right.
In real estate, we have changes every few years, so, there's difference, but yeah. It seems like every year there's major tax changes. So you really have to be with someone who's educating themselves constantly.
And if you have a lot of different deductions or your home ownerships and boats and things of that nature, then for the few extra dollars to hire a CPA, certified public accountant,
Right.
It would be worth its weight in gold. At least number one to know you're
H&R
getting
Block is advertising $9.95 right now.
Yeah, I think was that online, if they did it online or no?
I believe it is.
And I think
Yeah.
they're offering free for just basic, short form, 1090, not the W.
Yeah, the government made it so like everyone has to be able to
1040
get
1040, that's it.
your 1040 easy for free.
Yeah.
And then all those companies they make their money on the back end by trying to get to do your state.
Right.
They give you the national free, but then it's $15 to do your state.
But lucky for us, we don't have space.
Yeah, we got
So
it.
exactly, you don't have to worry about that one.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take our first quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do Hot Around Town, but we're also going to talk about a lot of the other deductions that you should look for when you file your taxes this year. You're listening to TREU Radio. Carol Morgan, Scott McAllister, and Mr. George Matter. I'm Tom Platania. We'll be right back.
90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. Do you have a struggling business? CTL Consultants specializes in helping small to medium-sized businesses get back on track. They'll help you understand how your profit and loss statement works. If used properly on a daily basis, it can be the most powerful tool you have. And you don't have to be an accountant to understand one. Don't use a profit and loss statement? Then you need to contact CTL Consultants today at ctlconsultants.com or 772-882-5700 to get your business back on track.
I'm Carol Morgan, real estate consultant with Keller Williams Real Estate in beautiful Stuart, Florida, serving Martin, St. Lucie, and Palm Beach counties, and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I have an extensive array of luxury waterfront and single-family homes. If you're looking to buy or sell, please call me at 772-631-1394 or go to StewartHomeListings.com.
Don't miss Real Estate Unleashed, Friday mornings at 10 on WSTU.
Hi, I'm Scott McAllister, General Manager of the McAllister International Team of Keller Williams of the Treasure Coast and co-host of Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed, every Friday morning on WSTU at 1450 a.m. I have a full real estate team with specialists in buying, selling, land and equestrian properties, distressed homes, and luxury waterfront. Call myself or my team at 561-756-0891 or online at treasurecoasthomesonline.com.
Why is the back bedroom always so hot?
Because it's the farthest room away from the AC.
Judy across the street has the same house we do. She doesn't have this problem. They had CTL consultants work with their builder and architect to design the most efficient system. They even designed the ductwork system so that every room is the same temperature. Her house is the same exact size. It has 2 tons less air conditioning than ours, and it feels 10 times better in their house. CTL Consultants, they really made the difference. We should have had CTL Consultants design our system.
If you're a builder, architect, engineer, or HVAC company looking for a true professional to design your HVAC systems and provide proper energy analysis, then you should contact CTL Calcs at ctlcalcs.com. That's ctlcalcs.com. ctlcalcs.com to see how we can help you build a better home.
I'm George Matter of Keller Williams Realty of the Treasure Coast. I've been a residential realtor for the past 12 years, specializing in waterfront and country club communities. If you're looking for the right house to dock your boat, I'm the realtor to call. Please contact me at 772-486-4676 or online at matterrealtors.com. I look forward to helping you buy, sell, or invest in your next home. Please listen to us Friday mornings at 10 a.m. on WSTU.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
All right, welcome back to TREU Radio, Treasure Coast Real Estate Unleashed. I'm here with Scott McAllister, George Matter, and Carol Morgan. The number to call here at the studio, if you'd like to ask us any questions, 772-220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. You can give us a call here at the studio if you have any questions regarding anything to do with real estate, buy, selling, or investing. Or if you have some questions perhaps about tax deductions on your home, we'll do the best that we can answer them or guide you in the right direction to contact a CPA to do that. But if you'd like to also contact any of the agents, realtors directly, you can give them a call at what number, Mr. Scott?
That would be 772-444-2590.
There you go, 444-2590. You can get in contact directly with the agents. And if you're looking to possibly buy, sell, or invest, or if you may be coming up on a short sale or foreclosure, you can talk to them and they may help guide you in the right direction of what would be the good time. Because, me personally right now, if it's up in the air about whether I'm going to get deductions on that difference, I would want to hold out a little bit till I find out what the answer is. That's just my personal. Because if I got to get taxed on $100,000, I may think of a different option.
Yeah, I think that's. It's a conversation you need to have with the CPA, a lawyer, and
right.
You have to balance out which, what's more important, because the getting out of the situation might be better.
Exactly.
Because think of a whole nother year of that stress and dealing with that. That's part of your life too.
Yeah, typically the people that are going through the short sales right now are people who really have financial issues.
Right.
They aren't just the people that are getting out of it because they're upside down. The people today are struggling. So with that being said, for them it's probably better to do it now,
right,
and find out what their consequences are going to be. I know I've got a couple going right now, and then I've advised them to talk to their attorney to find out what they should do before. And honestly, some of that stuff you can file bankruptcy on. So
now it's the same for short sale and foreclosure, the dollar amount difference, or would it just be for a short sale?
Well, foreclosure and a short sale is totally different.
No,
Right
I
now,
understand,
they're
but I'm talking about for the
Right now, they're talking about just the short sale.
Yeah.
right. That's what I'm. That's what
That
I'm
has nothing to
asking.
do with the
It
foreclosure.
has nothing.
Right. So a foreclosure, you're not going to have that dollar difference,
No.
really. Okay.
No.
So that would be a difference if you knew
Mm-hmm.
that you were going to have to pay taxes. Okay. Then that may help you with your decision on whether you would do a short sale or a foreclosure on the property. So that's why
Well, the
definitely
bad part
talking to
is
the
you don't
CPA
know
or the
because the
accountant.
fact that the government doesn't put that in until the end of the year. We never know if that's going to happen for this year.
Oh, they won't.
Likely, it probably will, but we don't know that.
Oh, so they did. So last year was the same thing,
Yeah, it seems-
2014.
It
Right.
seems highly likely that they would do it, but you can't. There's no guarantee.
Oh, so they're smart. So they'll wait till the end of the year. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find anything out till next year,
Right.
to the end of. Okay.
Talk to an agent ahead of time because you may or may not qualify for it anyhow.
There you
A
go.
couple of short sales that I'm working with right now, it's not their primary residence, so they
I
don't
see.
have the
Right.
option for the forgiveness anyhow.
see.
So
Okay.
their situation has to be right. So everybody's gonna
What are-
vary some.
I know the secondary properties you can't use it on. What are some of the other? Do you know what any of the other?
If it's an
stipulations
investment
are?
property, you cannot. If it is your primary residence, you still may be able to get some kind of break. If it's half a property where you can still get some kind of forgiveness or
Right.
even money
That's
in
what
your
I had.
pocket. So there's a lot of different options. Your situation, talk to a professional that
Yeah.
can walk you through your particular needs.
Yeah, and that's what I did when I was with Keller Williams, and Bob Aubrey helped me with that. They immediately, it was actually the mortgage company that applied me.
Right.
Sure.
And then Keller Williams helped out, but it was smooth and it was funny. Julio, who was here, I mean, he picked a date out of when the closing would happen, even with all the paperwork from the HAFA and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
He was within the week of just how everything progressed, because a lot of that stuff's out of your hands as the
Right.
realtor. But it was just pretty funny that I guess he's done so many of them that, I mean, just within the exact week that he had written on a piece of paper is when it closed.
Also, with the HAFA, once you're in that program, they can they have guidelines they have to follow for timelines, so that gives them some advantage as well.
Oh, okay, so that kind of pushes everybody. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to look into, because I tell you, that helped me out if you're ever in that position. And, for me, it worked out where I got forgiven the money difference between the two, which was over $100,000. And I actually ended up getting a $3,000 check at the closing table.
And there's incentives for the bank. They get money as well for participating in the program as well.
Good.
So there's a reason.
Reason for
They're not
everybody around.
being charity to mention that to
Oh,
you.
yeah, here, Tom, here's
It's-
a check.
It's beneficial
We
to
feel
them as
sorry
well.
for you.
Absolutely.
All right, so hot around town. So what's hot around town? Let's start with the McAllister team. What's hot around town for the McAllister team?
Like I was saying, we're getting a lot of the Stewart area, the PSL area is starting to warm up. But where I've been getting a lot of calls, and I was talking before the show, out west in Indiantown where we work, we have some advertising, and there's we also have some not billboards but signs out there, and when you're one of the few signs out there, we get a lot of calls. So smaller end stuff, but like people are really getting interested in investing out in Indiantown, because you can get places for $50,000-$60,000, and so I've been actually showing a lot of stuff out there.
Properties or homes?
No, these are homes, and they're smaller. I mean,
but still.
you've seen. I don't know if you've been out to Indiantown and know the area as well, but it's looking like it's starting to build up. They built that really beautiful new big bridge. They've got McDonald's out there. Dunkin' Donuts is moving out there. It's starting to really build up.
You still have to come into the Stewart, though, to go to the grocery store.
True.
But that'll be next.
But that'll be
Walmart.
next.
Is there a Walmart out there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm
There's
sure
not a
there will
Publix
be
or Winn-Dixie
eventually.
here.
But so I've been doing some business out there, and then a lot of it's people who are first-time home buyers.
Okay.
And a lot of them, there's a lot of Hispanic first-time home buyers out there. And what I'm helping to try to do is set them up with trying to get them people to do loans, because it's hard when you're doing, not a lot of people want a loan on very low-end properties like that. And I know some people that can make things happen. So,
there you go.
That's part of what I'm trying to do.
His name was Joey?
Yeah. But then, there's a real satisfaction. When you're doing some of that first-time home buyer, you're not getting as much as selling $1 million waterfront property.
Right.
But there's a lot of satisfaction in helping someone get their first place.
And if you're a good realtor,
Yeah.
that should be a big part, more than just the money.
Yeah.
The satisfaction,
It
if
is.
you're a good realtor.
It's nice. I just recently helped out in Indiantown. I sold an investment property to a guy who's been saving his whole life, and his whole goal was to own a place he could rent out.
Nice.
So that he was now a landlord. And the pride in his face when they handed him the keys, it was, it was a good feeling.
Awesome, yeah.
But you'd be surprised how many realtors are not like that out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I dealt with
absolutely.
one yesterday.
That's actually
Not a good thing.
I think that's one of the reasons we're getting calls, because they don't have established companies out there. You don't have Keller Williamses and companies like that. There are a lot of these small, I don't want to say mom and pop.
Maybe you
but
ought
it's
to put a
kinda like-
satellite office out there.
I know. I have to think about that.
You ride your horse to work?
Or dirt bike.
Horse and dirt
Dirt
bike.
bike, yeah.
I'm just gonna. I want one of the 4x4.
Four-wheeler?
All right, so what's hot around town for the Matter team? What's the matter for you?
I just got a new listing. It's actually a short sale, as we're talking about.
Really?
Nice.
It is 1650 Southeast Ocean Lane. It's a little 3-2. It's definitely a starter home. Got it on the market for $89,900.
Nice.
It's a cute little property.
That's in Stewart?
No, Port St. Lucie.
Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, it's right off Floresta and Thornhill.
There's no foreclosures and short sales in Martin County.
Yes, there are.
There's a beautiful REO that somebody has over there on, what is that, Palm Beach?
No, it's
They're on
not.
water? Nice.
It's not on the market yet, but it will be by the end of the day.
So you heard it first right here on
Absolutely.
TREU Radio. That's why you need to listen every
good for you.
Friday morning. You're going to find things out. You might be able to pick up this house before it even goes on the market. This way you don't have 20 other people bidding on it.
There you go.
Exactly right.
You get in, get out. You might save yourself some money.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Somebody might come in at 95 as soon as it hits the market. You might be able to get it for 89.
You got it.
Awesome. So what's hot around town for the Morgan team?
Well, the house that I announced last week, we put it under contract after the show on Friday.
Nice.
Believe it or not.
Congratulations.
And, so that one, the inspection's being done on that today, so I'll be leaving here and going to the inspection. And then training a new agent in the office.
Nice.
Been working on that.
Okay.
Just trying to get things caught up. All three of us were out of town for a full day on Wednesday, and so we're just playing catch up.
Beautiful.
There was some great training we all went to.
That's awesome.
Really good. We talk about education. It was a day of all three of us. I think learned a lot.
Yep.
And where'd you go to?
It was down in Davie.
Okay.
It was Keller Williams. It's called the ALC. Was it the regional ALC regional meeting?
Yep.
Yeah.
It had probably 500 of the top Keller Williams agents in the region, which is basically Tampa, South.
And you guys were there?
Oh,
Listen to that.
we were showcasing the event. The speaker for the day is the original CEO of Keller Williams. She's a very interesting lady, just shy of 80 years old,
Yeah.
and she's
dynamite.
can wow you.
Dynamic.
Mo Anderson is dynamic. She
absolutely.
is a dynamic lady.
I wish I had the energy at my age, and
Oh my
she's
goodness.
a heck of a lot older than me, and went
She
all
is
day
feisty.
long.
She's
Yes.
feisty.
And whenever I love it when people try to make excuses, and she'll just be like, "I'm 77 years
Yeah.
old, and I can do it," and you're like, "Okay."
Yeah. That's a good
I
thing.
do want to. I did forget the rental that I have in Port St. Lucie, a $1,200 one. They just finished replacing the carpets and put a new vinyl in the kitchen. It is
Nice.
ready to rent now.
Perfect.
$1,200. Give me a call.
772-444-2590. 772-444-2590. Give Scott a call. Give Carol a call. Give George a call if you want to talk about any of the properties they discussed here this morning with the Hot Around Town. You can also go to TREURadio.com. That's TREU radio.com, and click on any of their bios. You can get their websites directly to them. You can get their phone numbers directly to them. However, once again, like we mentioned, you only want to call those cell phone numbers between 12 a.m. a.m. and 6 a.m. No, I'm joking.
And I've got one more thing. We've got an open house that's going to happen Sunday out at Foxwood for 11726.
Nice.
We're going to be holding it open from 8:30 in the morning on Sunday.
Really?
Wow.
Well, let me tell you why. 8:30 in the morning on Sunday, and then I'll be handling that one, and then we've got another agent coming in at 1 to 4. So basically, the house will be open from 8:30 to 4.
Very nice.
The reason we're doing that is we have the huge fellowship church out there that's being held in South Fork High School.
Okay.
And they're in the process of building an amazing new church out there. And so we're going to hold it open for those people who come through in the morning. There are 3 church services there, one at 8:30 in the morning, one at 9:30, and I think the other one's at 11. So if you are looking for a house out in that area, please stop by and see us. We will be there at 8:30 in the morning. We will have our open house aside.
Oh, wonderful.
And there's thinking outside the box there, Cal. That's awesome. Instead of just, everyone's like, oh, open houses are 1 to 3.
Right.
That's what they always are. Pay attention to the neighborhood. That's great.
I thought it was just trying to dodge the football games that are so I was going a different route.
No, and we also have it open on Wednesday. We'll have it open again next
That's it, because
Wednesday.
it's the playoff or the
The AFC and NFC championship games. The first one starts up.
Hey, the houses have TVs. You can put it on.
Yeah. So we can have them before that.
Hey, that'd be a good way to get people to come. You know, I got free wings.
I got nachos and a big screen
and a
TV.
75-inch flat screen in the house. There you go.
got it.
And then we also are holding that same house open again on Wednesday. It will be from 1 to 4 Wednesday for the people who work out at Sikorsky that come through Pratt Whitney.
Oh, very nice.
We'll be
Okay.
able to stop and take a look at the house.
That makes a lot of sense, doing it that way. Excellent. All right, so that's what's hot around town. So let's get back to deductions for your home. We've already talked quick about boats as homes and RVs, also talking about cancellation debt for foreclosures or short sale. How about casualty loss? If your home was damaged or destroyed by a fire or storm, there are some deductions that you want to talk to your CPA. Once again, a lot of that has to do with your income and how things are going to go. So you want to make sure you check on that. Could be, reduced reimbursement, loss reduction. It could further reduce the adjustment of your gross income, different things like that. And it's funny that some of these deductions work in different ways. So that's another thing, that it's not just, some of them aren't just we're going to give you $1,000 back. Some of them have to do with the reduction of your income, like with the tax credit with the air conditioning system. It was a deduction, so you got $1,500, but it was $1,500 that would reduce your tax, what was required by the government.
Right.
So if they say you owe $20,000, $1,500 would come off of that $20,000, and that would be what you owed the government.
Correct.
It didn't necessarily mean that you were going to get a check back for $1,500.
Yeah, and some of the losses from damages and storms, if it's covered by insurance, it may not be covered, but it may, if you have a high deductible, it may help you as far
Right.
as that as well. So it may be different for each case as well.
Okay, so once again, check with your CPA. How about depreciation on the home? We hope we don't have too much depreciation. However, we do have it. It's just a natural occurrence. Tell us a little bit about what do we have for depreciation on homes. What have you seen in the past? Now, there's a limit. It says here a limit of up to $500,000 if you're married and file joint, or $250,000 for single.
Right. That's if you roll over your house, your sale of your house, and you're taking, well, if you buy a new home, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're not buying a house, if you're a single person, you get an automatic $250,000 deduction
Okay,
on your home. If you're a married couple, you get $500,000.
$500,000. Okay, so that makes nice.
And that's profit on the home.
That's the-
so
that's on your profit.
if you bought a home for $200,000, you're single, and you sold it for $450,000, that $250,000 is tax deductible. You can do that every 2 years.
Yep.
Nice.
So if you want to make some income on an escalating market, please call your local realtor.
Yes, absolutely.
I like the
There's
sound of that.
certainly a lot of money to be made when the market's going up.
Very
But
nice.
you do have to stay in and reside in it for 2 years.
It's got to be a homesteaded property for those 2 years.
And how about first-time buyer home credits? What's out there right now for first-time buyers? Is there anything right now?
There is not.
There's nothing.
There are some opportunities as far as financing, but not as far as tax credits. There was, and I believe it expired at the end of 2010. There was a couple of different government options to stimulate the economy, but those have all expired.
And if I'm not mistaken, on some of our statistics that we had looked at here recently, first-time home buyers are down. Is that correct? If I remember the last statistic we looked at.
They are down.
They are down. And rentals were up a little bit. But what would you correlate that a little bit to no first-time buyer home credit? Or would you correlate that more towards a little bit tighter mortgage restrictions?
I think the home prices is probably a bigger factor.
Yeah, when the prices were really low, who bought them all? The investors.
Yeah.
And now the investors turn around and are renting them to the people that couldn't afford to pay cash
That makes sense.
when they were down, when the prices were down.
So that's why the rentals are up tremendously. So
Do you see first-time home buyer credits coming back anytime soon?
I haven't heard any chatter about it. That would be a wonderful thing if they did, but
that would help out.
There has not been.
I think if the market would ever slow again, you might see the government come in with a credit for first-time home buyer.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's
As a
going to happen
reaction,
for a while.
always behind the gun. Let's
Mhm.
let's wait till we have a problem before we try
Yeah.
to solve it.
Exactly.
I guess they use that if it's not broke, don't fix it thing until it's
Yeah.
already broken and falling apart.
And then it takes them forever to
and that
make a
takes it
decision.
exactly. Energy credits. There are still some energy credits out there. You want to go? You can actually go on EnergyStar.gov, and you can find out all the different information. A lot of them has to do with there's still little air conditioning credits out there. I mean, some of them are so minute, they're like $300.
Right.
And in order for you to get the tax credit, you have to spend like $1,000 plus more on the air conditioning system to even get the credit. But you could still look at it, windows, doors, things of that nature. So
I don't think it's worth upgrading, an existing system that works fine, but if you are looking, if you're like, hey, I really do need a new air conditioner, then you start looking and going, hey, at least we can get some credit for it.
Yeah, because you still have it. If you are Florida Power and Light has credits. So between their credit and the additional money that you would get from the government and whatnot, it might even offset the cost between like a 13 and going to a 16 SEER system. So that's definitely something you want to look at. EnergyStar.gov, you can find all that information out on all the different credits, whether there's a water heater credit or there's windows and doors credits, there's insulation credits, there's all kinds of stuff.
I think the one right out there right now is still solar. I think the solar credit is still out there.
Yeah, they got big solar, but the solar is still around here, and believe it or not, you'd think Florida. What's the name of what's Florida's nickname?
Sunshine.
Yeah.
The Sunshine State. You would think that we would have been like the first ones on top of solar. Solar is still like hardly heard of in the residential
And then
market.
you look at like Germany gets like 75% of their power from solar, and you're thinking about their weather compared to ours. You're like, how did they get up there?
Yeah, I mean, and like Lennox was the first manufacturer to come out with a solar power option for their air conditioning. But you think that people just would have thought about this before, and it's just, you see some on the houses or whatnot, but you would expect it to be so much bigger. But it's so outrageously expensive still to get it done.
It is. I mean, I had checked into solar heat or hot water on my other house, and it was going to run me about $7,000 to put solar hot
It would
water in,
never
which I
benefit
couldn't
you.
cost justify that.
No.
And so
But she had like
I
20
have-
kids in the house,
I still
all
couldn't- I
teenage
still couldn't
girls.
cost- I mean, the return would have been too long.
And the lifespan of something like that's only about 15 years,
Yeah.
so it would never pay for itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I have a house for sale in Port St. Lucie, and one day I happened to go to inspect the house, and it has solar hot water, but when I pulled up to the driveway, I noticed that there was water coming down the sidewalk and down the driveway. So being an agent and checking a house out, the first thing I do is I follow the water, and it's coming down off the roof, and it's the whatever the fittings are on the solar that are up on the roof that were leaking. Well, come to find out, was not only that leaking, but the motor on the solar for over the hot water heater had gone bad.
Right.
So it ended up costing her about $1,000 to fix all of this. And I said to him, I said, based on now this is a 2-year-old system.
Yeah.
Based on this 2-year-old system, having to put another $1,000 on it, what cost justification do you have in this?
Yeah.
As I know, before they were about $7,000. He said, no, we can do them today for about $3,500. I said, even at that,
Yeah.
if you're going to have to return $1,000 back in it every 2 years because it goes bad, where's my savings?
Yeah.
Where is our savings? So,
They could use green guilt.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can use green guilt to get people to do it.
so I'm not so justified on all of it.
When I moved into the place I'm at now, I found this weird little box attached to my water heater and like go into my air conditioner. I'm like, what is this?
On demand.
I called FP&L and they were
Okay.
like, oh, your landlord has joined this program where we can shut the power off to your house
For 3
when
hours.
demand is high. I'm like, when would that be? Like, oh, when it's, like really hot. I'm like, so when I would really be wanting to run the air conditioner, they can shut my power off.
I got the concept of that, but I never understood.
Yeah, but you know
that.
what? So I asked. I'm like, well, what credit is she getting? $49 a year. $49
No,
a
it's
year.
$10 a month.
They told me I was
have
getting
it at
49.
my house.
They said it was $49.
I have it at my house and have had it for over 10 years. I have it for my air conditioner. I have it for my hot water heater and my pool pump, and it's about $150 a year total, about $10 a month. Over the years, they have turned off the pool pump twice. For an hour, maximum an hour. The air conditioner was once, and I wasn't even aware of it because we weren't home. And the hot water heater, they turned off a couple of times, but you're not even aware of it if you're not taking a shower.
That's true.
So the couple of times that they've done it, there was never an effect on. What's the difference?
Makes sense that way.
That's what I was wondering.
So it's paid for itself. It's the maximum they'll ever do it is an hour at any given time. If there's like a major shortage of brownout or something, they have the ability. But it's $150 a year. They pay for the installation of it. So it's been a benefit.
that way.
It's been a benefit to us.
It's worth
I've
it
got
that
it.
way.
Not so
signed
much
up
for
for it
you
on
because
mine.
you don't get the
You're right.
benefit, but your landlord.
Well, I hadn't
obviously.
been there long enough to see it, to see if that had happened. I was curious. I was just thinking anytime it got hot, they're going to be shutting my air conditioner off.
Very rarely have they done it over
And
at
think
least
about
10
it.
years.
Thank you, I feel
How
better.
often are you home?
Well, true.
Yeah, that is true.
We should be out making money, right?
Yeah, we should
Good
be out
point.
making money.
How about home equity debt? Interest on up to $100,000.
Still deductible.
Still deductible. So if I have the interest that I pay on my mortgage, correct? Whatever that is for the year, I get to deduct that. That's good. So that's a benefit of homeownership.
For the average homeowner, that's probably the biggest benefit of
Homeownership.
homeownership as far as taxes.
Okay, is getting that credit there. Nice. How about home office deductions? You guys all have that.
There's a red flag on that.
Yeah,
Be careful.
this is the reason you get a professional CPA who knows what they're doing, because every CPA I've ever talked to said that the deduction is not worth it.
Not worth
It is
the
a
audit.
red. It is a red flag for an audit, and the amount you get off is not worth it. They say just eat it.
Don't even bother.
Don't even bother. That's the advice I've gotten from like 3 different CPAs.
And my accountant told me the same thing. If you're doing it and it's big enough, you better have that office exclusively for an office. You better not have a secondary office. So it's really not worth taking the chance to do so.
That makes a lot of
And
sense.
see, we all have secondary offices, so we
Little
have an
things
office
like
in our office. So.
Which
that's-
we deduct as well.
But that's something that if you're doing, say you're doing it yourself and you didn't know that, you would go, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I work out of my second bedroom, and you're just going to do that and setting yourself up for an audit.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That is not good. How about loan prepayment penalties? Are those still out there?
They're out
Carol,
there.
you would know that.
They are out there. There are prepayment penalties out there. Most of your conventional loans today have a prepayment penalty on it.
Okay.
Um,
And it says here that the charge is deductible as mortgage interest.
It is.
It is.
It
So
is.
that's good. Well, of course, we don't want to have the prepayment penalty just to get the tax deduction.
Right.
So that's something. I mean, that's something that you want to look at in your mortgage ahead of time, then, right?
Right. Well, you have to ask your lender that. You
Yeah.
ask the lender, is there a prepayment penalty tied with this?
Now,
and the
are there
prepayment penalty tied to it means that you just have to have it for so long.
right?
So, and you can't transfer it off to somebody else because
Okay.
of that. So you
And
just have to
what
be
are
really
the time
careful.
frames typically on a prepayment penalty? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years?
I think it's like a
3 is what I've seen.
Three, okay.
Mostly a 3.
3 year. Okay. So we just hang on to it for 3 years, and we don't have to pay that penalty
Right.
typically.
Hang on to it or don't refinance.
Don't refinance.
That's the
Or
other
refi-
thing.
okay.
A refi
Or
would-
sell.
Or so.
Or sell. Okay.
But if you sell, it's a tax deductible item. So
Okay. So you wouldn't.
Cost
So
of
even
doing
if you got a
business.
prepayment penalty, the tax deductible items and all that stuff would probably offset the cost of that. Okay. All right. We already talked about mortgages. How about moving expenses? If a move is connected with taking a new job that is at least 50 miles further
Right.
from your old home, You get deductions for that. That I
do.
did not know.
Yes.
You do get deductions. However, if your company pays your relocation fees, you don't get those.
You don't get it. So
But if
gotta-
it's out of your pocket,
gotta come out of your pocket.
It is.
There you go. So see, Scott, you moved up to, well, that was not quite 50
Not
miles.
far enough?
That wasn't far enough.
No.
So see, if you moved farther away from us, we could have deducted you.
The last job that I did have moved me to another city, though. Yeah, they paid for it. When I was in the restaurant, they paid for me to move to Milwaukee, so that was
Oh, it's
fun.
not an expense for you, so it's
Yeah,
not
I was not allowed to deduct it.
There you go. How about parsonage allowance?
I don't know how many
Down
people
about
that's going to affect that.
For members of the clergy, the value of a home provided by the church is a tax-free fringe benefit. A housing allowance is
Don't
also...
you know they're supposed to be nonprofits?
Yeah, right.
I remember the assistant pastor at my church growing up in the school, the Catholic school I went to. He, Father Murphy, and he had, I think this family had some money, and it was one of the traditional, the seventh son of the family goes to become a priest.
Yeah.
But he had a, what was it, the 6.6 liter, what was that, the Trans Am. I mean, this priest driving around in a Trans Am, for some reason never got a ticket. I wonder if that little collar helped you. You get pulled over, you're like, oh, there, son, come on. You don't really want to give me a ticket there, do you there, son? The Lord thanks you.
All right, 772-220-9788 if you'd like to call the studio with any questions here that you might have. Points, we talked about if you have points that you paid on the mortgage. Now, points are, that's something different than prepayment penalty,
That's
correct?
right. Points are a percentage of the mortgage amount. So if you're going to pay, if you've got a mortgage of $100,000 and you're going to pay 1 point, you're going to pay $1,000.
You're going to pay $1,000. And is that, are points a typical thing? Or
No.
not on all
Well, you know,
mortgages?
all money is borrowed at a certain amount.
Okay.
Okay? So the banks today, they borrow money at a certain amount. They need a return on that dollar.
Okay.
If they're going to give it to you at par, so say if they're borrowing at 2% par, and they're not making anything, and they're lending it at 2% par, they have to collect something. So that's when your points come in.
Okay.
Or points will come in if you want to buy down your interest rate.
Okay.
We do that in many ways to buy down an interest rate to get you to qualify at a different rate level.
Okay.
So if we need you, say the rate is at 4.5%, but we need you down to 4, we need to have you pay points to get you down to that 4% so that
Okay.
you qualify. That's the benefit of having points. And points are totally tax deductible.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's prepaid interest.
Property taxes, real estate taxes. Property taxes, they are deductible.
Yeah.
Is
Yes,
that
they
correct?
are. Yes, they are.
Okay, well, that's another good thing. So we're getting deductions on our interest that we're paying. We're getting getting savings on our property taxes that we're paying, especially with some of the inflated stuff that's out there. That it's because you start reading through that. It's like the property taxes are all based on the budget of the city or something like that.
City, county.
Yeah, city, county. So, well, based on
Good,
how
right or indifferent.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's like,
Well, and now pretty much there's so much debt for the retirement, the pension funds, that every property tax increase for the next 10 to 15 years is going to go directly into pensions. Because every city has so much pension debt that they keep going up, and when they increase it, it's not going to go to better schools. It's going to go to pay down their pension debt.
wow, that makes me feel so much
Yeah.
better. That makes me want to buy a home.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
But the thing is, what are you gonna? You have to make a decision to buy at some point, because you want to have that ownership, you want to have that equity,
Yeah,
Stability.
the stability
Absolutely.
of home ownership.
Right.
Well, real quick before we go, Facebook. Facebook is a great thing, but it could also be a horrible thing.
Oh, it can.
And I saw this morning, I saw a post that there was in one of these Latin countries, they were fishing something out of the river, and the guys are reaching, and they break it, and it's a plastic bag, and they pull the bag out, and they set the bag on the ground, and they start ripping open the bag, and there was a baby in the bag. And I posted, I'm like, this is somebody needs to be shot
Yeah.
with a, I can't believe that there's people in the world that would do something like that.
There are crazy people in the world.
It's
very sad.
It is a shame. It's absolute shame.
It is. And one more thing I want everybody out there to be aware of. They are dumping the water. They opened the gates today for Okeechobee. It's coming down into the river, guys. So
get ready for that.
Watch it. They've already found some bacteria out by Langford Park in the water. So just watch when you're swimming. Make sure you protect your children. Don't let them in the waters.
All right, and if you want to give the realtors a call after the show anytime, 772-444-2590. I was waiting for Scott there. 772-444-2590. Give the realtors a call or go to TREURadio.com. That's TREU Radio.com. You can click on their links, go directly to their websites, find their personal email and email addresses and phone numbers. If you'd like to ask them questions about anything today, maybe you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, and you want to talk to them to find out what direction you should take. Always need to speak to a licensed realtor first before you make those decisions. They can help guide you in the right direction. So as always, we end our show with a wonderful quote to motivate you through the week. Our quote today from Anthony Robbins. Tony Robbins says, "Stay committed to your decisions, but stay flexible in your approach." Stay committed to your decisions, but stay flexible in your approach. Guys, I want to thank you, Scott McAllister, George Matter, and Carol Morgan. Guys, have a great week. Enjoy your weekend and holidays or whatever's coming up. And you're listening to TREU Radio. We'll be back next Friday here on WSTU 1450. Have a great weekend, and thank you for listening.
90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years.